Okay, so in this example, number 3, we're going to determine the slope of a line segment. We're going to look at two methods, rise over run, plus our slope formula. Okay, on our first diagram A, we're given point S, which is -3 and +6, so -3 and +6. And point T, which is at 5 and 2. Okay, we're going to draw our line in. And then we're going to draw in a triangle like this. Okay? Okay, so the first one we're going to take a look at is from the graph. We're going to use the slope is equal to rise over the run. Okay, and we're going to go to our diagram and we're going to pick a path. Okay, so we're going to say, all right, I'm going to move from S to T, so I'm going to go down and to the right. Okay, I want to count how many spaces that is from S to the corner of our triangle down here. Okay, so I count, I say it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And because I'm going down, it's negative. And then I'm going to move to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And because I'm going to the right, it's +8. So this is my rise. This is my run. My rise is -4 over my run, which is +8. Reduce my fraction, I get a slope of -1/2. Okay. All right, my second method is going to be slope formula. Okay, so recall in class, I always ask you to write out the formula. So the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's your slope formula. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go back to your picture, your diagram, and you want to designate S or T as being 0.1, and I'm gonna call S 0.1. Okay, which means it's going to have coordinates of x sub 1 and y sub 1, and my point T is going to be 0.2, so P sub 2, which will have coordinates x sub 2 and y sub 2. Okay, so for my S point, my coordinates are -3 and 6, and for my T point, my coordinates are 5 and 2. Okay, so I go back to my formula. Y2, that's on point 2, which is 2. Y1 is on point 1, which is 6, so it's Y2 minus Y1 divided by X2, if I go to point 2, is 5 minus x1 on point 1, which is -3. Okay, remember, when you are subtracting a negative number, you are adding. Okay, so we have 2 minus 6, which is -4, over 5 plus 3, which is 8. We have a slope of -1/2. Okay, let's do our second example here. We have a point H at 4 and 6. So 4 and 6, that's point H. And we have a point K, which is at -1 and -1. We're going to join our points, draw in a triangle. Okay, we're going to start with our graph. M equals rise over run. So I want to figure out what the rise and the run are. Okay, so I'm going to start at H and I'm going to move down. Okay, so how many spaces is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So down -7. And then to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so positive 5. And so I have a rise which is negative 7. Oops, sorry, to the left, negative 5. And so I'm going to have a run of negative 5, so my slope is 7/5. Okay, slope formula. Okay, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus y2. Okay, I'm going to consider k my point 1. Okay, point 1, which is x1, y1, so in our case negative 1 and negative 1. And h is going to be our point 2, which is x2, y2. Okay, so we're going to plug those numbers into our formula. y2 is 6, right? y2 is 6. Minus y1. y1 is negative 1. Okay, all over x2, which is 4, minus x1, which is negative 1. So minus negative 1. Remember, subtracting a negative is like adding. So 6 plus 1 is 7 over 4 plus 1, which is 5, and we have a slope of 7/5. Okay? All right, and if we talk about it in terms of going from left to right, on the first slope, we start at S on the left, and we move down to T on the right, so we know that's negative. And then on our second diagram, we start at point K, which is on the left, and we go up to point H on the right, and so we know that that is positive. Okay, so we go to the next part of our question. Okay, and we're going to use the same grid for both C and D. Okay, so write small. All right, M, negative 9 and negative 4. N, negative 1 and negative 4. Draw a line. Okay, so there's no triangle that we can draw here, okay, but we're still going to use our two methods, okay? So for C, M equals rise over the run. All right, so if you take a look at our line, we don't have a rise, right? So we say that the rise is 0. We do have a run though, okay? Our run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it doesn't matter whether that's a positive or a negative, but let's just say it's positive because we're going to the right, okay? You can go to the left too, it really doesn't matter. Okay? And 0 divided by 8 is 0. Okay, if we use our slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's say that this is point 1 and this is point 2. Plug our numbers in. y2 is negative 4 and y1 is negative 4 and x2 is negative 1 and x1 is negative 9, so minus negative 9. Remember, minusing a negative is adding. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Negative 1 plus 9 is 8. 0 divided by 8 is 0. Okay, so like we said earlier in one of our previous videos, a horizontal line has a slope of 0. Okay. All right, let's take a look at D then. I'll do this in purple. Okay, we have a point at -4 and 1. And we have a point P at -4 and -3. Okay, join your points. Once again, we can't draw a triangle, okay, but we can still use our formulas, okay? Our slope is rise over the run. Now on this line, we do have a rise. It is 1, 2, 3, and 4. What we don't have is a run, and because we don't have a run, right, there's no change in direction from left to right, we put 0. Anything divided by 0 is undefined, okay? Our other slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus, y2, okay, let's start that over again. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, why don't we say that O is 0.1, so x1, y1, and P is 0.2, x2, and y2. Okay, and hopefully at this point you have figured out that it really doesn't matter which point is 0.1 and which point is 0.2. Okay. All right, y2 then, according to this, is -3 minus y1, which is 1, and x2 is -4 minus x1, which is -4. Remember, minus a negative is positive, so in the numerator, -3 minus 1 is -4, and in the denominator, -4 plus 4 is 0. Divide by 0, you get undefined, okay? And remember from previous video, vertical lines have an undefined slope. Okay, all right, so that concludes example number 3.